The next day, those two people had it named the Vibe Room. And I felt like that would be a great way for me to extend the connection. You know, yeah, you do your regular, hey, how you doing? Thank you for your help. And you meet the radio guys and girls and meet the winners and stuff, right? But we saw an experience happen out there. Not just a show, it was an experience in our own lives. Like, we knew what happened to us doesn't get to happen to everyone. And we wanted to share that with everybody. And that's how the Vibe Room was started.
And then the Vibe Room got so crazy with athletes and everybody else,
right.
You changed it, or you added a thing, and as somebody that's been in radio now 51 years, I'll tell you how much is appreciated when you had a room just for radio people.
Right, because the Vibe Room became, it took on a life of its own, and all of a sudden it wasn't as intimate as it was. You know, there was a lot of different people in there, and I was getting pulled in a lot of different ways. And especially when we did start the radio room before the stadium shows, but especially during the stadium shows, I mean, that was something that I never thought would ever happen to me, ever. And I just wanted something more intimate. And we carried that with the amphitheaters and the arena shows too. But I truly wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say, you know, look what we did together. Look at all these people that care about your station and care about our music, the music that you play, and the experience of it all.
Do you put up fences? Do you give your folks, say, this is where it ends? Because we don't see you in a lot of things, not a lot of late night TV or the morning talk shows or whatever. Is that something?
I go to bed really early now.
Well, you are about to celebrate a milestone birthday, so I get that.
Yeah.
But is that something you work at to keep your private life private?
Well, it's a decision. You know, like you see a lot of acts now, and a lot of the labels want you to do, you know, document every single second of your life on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and it's become a part of, it's become a marketing ploy, your life, right? But I just don't feel comfortable, you know, going down that road, because I like to keep, you know, I've worked really hard to be this person, and I want to keep some sort of dignity and integrity intact, and not feel like I'm selling my soul to, you know, get higher in the consumption chart, right? But honestly, I think that I realized that, you know, the person that I am today, that there are some things that are fair game. I realize that. But the one thing that I guess one of the reasons that I'm so private is when my life really changed and people started caring on a different level, the only thing that I could keep for myself was the intimate details of my life. Now, everything else is kind of fair game. People talk about you, they make up stuff, they run with it, the media runs with it. You know, people are really curious to know those intimate details, and I get that. But the reason that I'm so private is if I don't keep those intimate details to myself, then where do I go? What else do I have? And I've always kind of felt that that was the reason. You know? Not really. No. I enjoy certain things about it. You know? But I don't, it's a lot like being a songwriter. You know, I've always felt like being a songwriter, I felt like you were born to be a songwriter. You weren't born to be a celebrity. This is what happened because you were born to be a songwriter. And what you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and so I've always seen songwriting as a huge blessing, but also it's a constant annoyance. You know, because you wake up every day and I can't let that go. I gotta write that down. I gotta write it. You know, I gotta. One day, it's like Springsteen told me. He goes, you can write half of a song on a piece of paper and put it in a drawer, and 2 years later, that song will still be there. But your life isn't like that. It moves on, right? So it's kind of there's a creative annoyance to finish it and to try to, you know, have your net to catch whatever idea or whatever slam on a song you can do. But no, I don't love, and I shy away from anything celebrity. I mean, you can ask my team. I say no to a lot of things that come my way that a might say yes to, but it's just too celebrity-oriented in nature. And so I just shy away from it. You know, I would rather be creating, and I know what it feels like to authentically be on stage and take my finger and move 60,000 people to the left and move them to the right. I know what that feels like. And I try to stay focused on what it takes to do
Country
that.
radio, your 5.
My top 5 or top 5?
Oh, your top 5.
My top 5.
Right.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. Maybe Beer in Mexico, maybe?
Number 6.
Number 6. When the Sun Goes Down.
Not in the top 10.
Young?
Number 11.
I'm way off now. It's like, okay.
All right. Get Along.
Okay, well, yeah.
I Go Back.
All right.
Save It for a Rainy Day.
Really? Wow.
Because you don't do that anymore, right? Do you?
Oh, I do Save It for a Rainy Day. Yeah.
There's
Do I go back?
Okay. American Kids.
Yep.
All the Pretty Girls.
Interesting. Wow. And Young is 11.
6 is Beer. Knowing You is 7. How Far It Feels 8. No Shoes 9. And She's Got It All.
Wow. Thank you guys very much. It's pretty incredible. Like a lot of parents do. And then she married my stepfather, and then he went to Vietnam, and me and my mom lived with my grandparents. And so I had, my mom and my grandmother were in the hospital at the same time, having me and my Aunt Missy. It's crazy. So I always looked at my aunt like a sister, but she's my aunt. You know, she's 6 days older than me. You know, so we were always really close.
And he's Tennessee boy.
But that's where I first heard this music, was in her kitchen. That's where I first heard Smoky Mountain Rain keeps on calling. You know, whoa, what's that? You know, and even as a child, you know, because when you're young, it has, the things you absorb, it has such an emotional blueprint on you, and it makes such an impression. And that music, this music, did. And because I lived with my had I not been living with my grandmother, you know, I don't know that I would have probably heard it, because that's all we heard. But still, it was really, and it was almost like it was intentional. I can see her kitchen, I can hear this music, and it's where me and my mother and my Aunt Sharon and all of us started singing along with, you know, as a kid listening to Alabama. Oh my God, this is so great. You know, and Mother and I have, for someone that wasn't in your life that much, you know, it's like, it's really strange. You know, all of a sudden had what I thought was my dad, but it was really my stepfather, and then I go over here and, okay, this is my dad. Oh, great, I got 2 dads. This is great, right? And then it was just, it was awkward for me early on, you know, but my father, I got my music from my mother. I got my love of sports. That has been such a huge part of my life from my father. You know, that's the one thing my dad and I, when it's hard to find commonality with your father or any family member, whatever that, we all have that. My father and I had football, and that's where we found commonality. And sometimes if you can find anything, then that's enough, right? And, but, you know, we've had my father and I have had our ups and downs. You know, when you add success in and you see how people react to that, you know, oh wait a minute, you gotta, you know, that's not the way you're supposed to react to your son's success. You know, but it was hard. You know, but it's better now. It's a lot better, actually. I'm sure they were horrified, but my mom knew. My mom knew that I was serious, because on a Friday and Saturday night, I wasn't going out with all the people my age. You know, it was when all my friends and everybody was going to downtown Knoxville and do what 18 to 19 to 24-year-olds do, right? I was sitting in front of the TV watching Nashville Now and watching Ralph Emery and learning how to play Keith Whitley songs. That's all I did. I was obsessed. And my mom knew I was serious. And when I graduated college at East Tennessee State, I moved here in January 13th, 1991. It was the day the first Gulf War started. And I'm thinking, oh, well, there was this moment that we thought the draft was going to come back, and I may not get to chase my dream. I may have to go over there. It's crazy. But I think that my mom and my dad really thought that it was something that I was going to do for maybe a couple of years and pursue, and then come back home and get a job. And it's been that. So, and I think that to do this and do it right, I mean, look, and it's just not me, it's my whole team. We have been married to this. It's true. And I have been really, I would take none of it back. I wouldn't. And I love the position I'm in my life now. I feel so fortunate, and I'm so thankful. I mean, just to hear those songs that you talked about, you know, and it's just crazy to know that those are your songs, you know. And when we start tour next week, okay, well, actually we play tomorrow night at the rodeo in Houston, but we start tour next week, and we've been in rehearsal, and I look at the set list and I think about what we're not doing. It's just crazy. There's a whole other set list for what we're not doing. But I don't know, but to get to all those songs and to see, like, I look at the set list and I go, okay, that was a time of my life. And then I go, oh, that was another time of my life. And this is more current, this is that. And yeah, I mean, I've definitely been married to it, for sure.
30 years of radio interviews has made you very good at this, because you never got to the marriage question.
I'm running for office too, so but
you have been, you know, you are, like all us, getting older and maturing, and you've been in a great relationship now for what, 12 years?
Well, I'm sorry?
Been in a great relationship. Does that cue to go to the next question? No, you've been with somebody now for 12 years.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's one of those. See, this is where it gets like, should I tell Lon things I don't tell Oprah, or should I tell Lon things I don't tell? That's it. It's one of those things, you know. So. I feel like it's pretty good.
You get a hat. You get a hat. You get a hat. Looking back the last 40, you've sold about 17 million concert tickets, unless you have an updated number that I don't have. That's really good for a guy that had, 6 top 10s in the first 7 years you were singing. #1 country artist in ticket sales. What do you think it is that makes you so special that people put down their money to come and see you? Year after year after year, in many of the same cities, traveling to see you.
I wish I had the answer. I think that the most obvious answer is that it's the music, and I would like to think that it's the music. The other thing that I think that it is that when we're up there, Lon, it is such a unique experience for all of us. Every town is different, every room is different, the energy is different. But somebody told me once that we think it's really good that you put so much of your life into your live show and the experience of it all. I stopped them. I said, no. We put all of it. Not just a little bit of it, not just so much of it. We put all of it. And I just feel like that the music that we've been blessed to put out really was a mirror to a lot of people's lives. And it was a mirror into my own soul, my life. And I think that anytime I ask the record label or management or whatever, people on my team, you know, to say certain things about you in the media or whatever, I think when we went out there on the road, that it was just such a unique, wonderful, connected experience that I don't know, it was before social media when we built it, and so it had to be. I learned in all my marketing when I was in school was word of mouth, and it's word of mouth still today, and it's times 1,000,000 word of mouth today. But we built it in such a way where people that came to the show the next year they brought people with them, and the next year they brought people with them. And I don't know, I can't tell you why. I just know we saw it happen through the looking glass, and it was a beautiful thing to see, and it still is.
Picks me up. Buffy Cooper picks me up in a golf cart and says, Kenny doesn't want to do the interview backstage. He said, I'm going to take you somewhere. So we end up there at the last row in MetLife.
New York City.
And you told me, well, first of all, you stopped sound check to do this.
Right.
Couldn't stop the planes over LaGuardia. I thought you were powerful. But you told me at that point that you love to go to the last row in a stadium to see what that person in that seat is looking at. Well, and that's why you're so good. Well, you connect with those people.
Thank you.
You really do.
Thank you. Well, it's more importantly, because I know what it looks like on stage looking up there, but I wanted to measure, and not just looking at it. I wanted to emotionally measure how far it was, from that point to the stage. And I'm looking at that stage art. I think that was 2011. I think I can tell by the stage art. I think it's when we did it. And we were doing the countdown, and all the planes were landing. It took us forever to do it because the planes were landing at LaGuardia right beside us. But that was one of my moments where I was with Lon, and here we are, right in Jersey, right outside on the other side of the tunnel, outside of New York City, and getting ready to play country music for a lot of people that cared about it. And I remember that being a moment like, wow, this is much different, than where we started. And I felt so grateful and appreciative, and because our life was really changing. Now, I'd already been doing stadiums 6 years before we took that picture, but I think that was the first time I played in New York. I think. Buffy may know better than Clint, but that was a really great moment for us.
And a birthday coming up.
I do.
Milestone.
Get me a cake.
Get whatever you want. I got you a hat from Maui.
You did? All right. I want to go to Maui for my birthday. That's what I want. I want a cake.
You take me back. What? How are you going to celebrate? 55.
Yeah. Probably doing something with my mom, and friends. I don't really know. We played Penn State's basketball arena the night before my birthday. So I don't know where that's going to lead, So probably in Knoxville with family, probably. To be in your 50s and still have a vibrant mother is pretty great, So, and as long as I don't care how old you are. My mom still treats me like I'm 12. Ask the same questions. It's like, Mom, remember, I'm grown now. So, but still, there's a beauty within that I try not to take for granted.
You have a book in your future.
Book?
Writing a book of your life.
Wow, I don't know. It'd be hard to. People have mentioned documentary films and books, and I don't know what to put in it. I don't know what the story is. Yes, we want to. We know the story. Like, there's been this kid from East Tennessee that stood at the New York Giants and the New York Jets football stadium and ended up playing it 10 times, and there's that story. But I don't know. I don't know what the story would be. But there is. Maybe I'll write a book on radio promotion. Now there is, and how much fun we had over the years. Now that is a book people want to hear and read.
You got that right. Do you want to do this? Springsteen's in the 70s. McCartney's 70s, I think. Jagger's 102.
As I say that radio book, there's people in there going, oh my God. Hope you don't do that.
Yeah. We're all thankful there were no cell phones, pictures back then. But how long do you want to do this? Both making records and performing at the level you perform at now.
Yeah, if I feel good, I feel great. And I still have a fire burning to go out there and give people every single amount of energy that I have. and I can't help it. My grandmother, speaking of my family, has video footage, or my mom has it now because my grandmother passed, but has video footage of me in my grandmother's kitchen listening to music and just moving. And it's the same movement as a child that I have now, I can't help it.
You skip backwards as a kid?
So yeah, I got to do all of it. It's crazy. You know, but when you have the band that I have and you put all those people that care about your music in front of you, and I go, you know, it's just, I don't know how you ever let that go. And I love it. I love what I do. I really do. I love being creative. I guess as long as I can be creative and do what I do at the level that I do it, and I've set a pretty high bar.
Speaking of that, working on some new music now for Warner?
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly working on new music. I am. I'm trying to be creative, and I'm just there. I'm not there yet. You know, I'm not done with it. And so I'm trying to, you know, I'm about halfway done with a record, maybe. You know, I'm pretty hard on myself. You know, and
this is a pretty important album for you.
Like, they're all important. I mean, all of them are important. The next record is very important, no matter who you are or where you are in the arc of your career. Every album's important, you know, because you want somebody to feel something. You want somebody to be happy. You want somebody to chase their own dream because of your music, you know. And that's yeah. To put songs out, you can do it and you know, keep beating the machine. But I'm truly trying to find songs and write songs that are going to mean more than just that. And so that takes a minute. And so when it's done, we'll all have new music.
Do you have the first single yet?
I do not have a first. Well, I could, of course.
But I meant
I'm trying to beat it.
Right.
Yeah. So I've got one, but not yet. I mean, I don't have a beat it yet, but I'm trying.
Well, this is so fitting that you are here. Almost 30 years exactly since we got together to do that.
Wow.
And what I want to end with is, there are 3 songs and there are some excerpts of our chat. And I want to play here the very last thing we said to each other on this interview.
Oh, so this is part of this interview.
Right. This is what I asked you 30 years ago.
At this point, at age 25, new album coming out, single in just a little while. Just the hopes, the dreams, the fantasies of Kenny Chesney at this point in time.
You know, this is all so new to me. I'm living a dream every day that I wake up. I remember some of my first trips coming to Nashville. I would just pray that I could be a part of this somehow and be a part of the songwriting community. And every day I wake up and I drive down the interstate and I just thank the Lord that I'm able to get up every morning and come in and to write for Acuff Rose. You know, when I was in college, you know, and I've always heard of Acuff Rose all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot believe that I'm getting to do what I'm getting ready to do. It's just, I'm just loving it. I'm so tickled and fired up. And I'm going to be hitting the road here in about, you know, November sometime.
I was just going to say that a lot of the folks that we're talking to right now will be seeing you probably at a radio station close to them.
That's true. That's exactly right. And I cannot wait to get out and meet some of the people out there. I'm just looking forward to it. I just can't stand it.
Well, listen, best of luck with the album and my wildest dreams out
Bless
on
your heart.
Capricorn. And
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm going to have more fun than anybody.
My voice lowered over the years. That sounds weird. I said tickled too, didn't I?
I was looking for a response, not to how you sounded, but what you said. Because what you said in that, you could have said today, and you did. Those same things.
Yeah, a lot of the same things I just said were right there. And it's crazy. Yeah. But I just love songwriting and love songs and the effect it has on people. And the idea, right then, I hadn't met hardly any of country radio. You know, I'd been out a little bit with Rick Rockhill, but we went where we went. We didn't go all over the country. We went where we went, you know, and wow, what a journey, you know, to truly not have met everyone at Country Radio, but have been a part of it, and to become friends and partners, and to have the fun we had in the Vibe Room, and at no matter what shows they were. I mean, we authentically and still authentically are having fun with this. I absolutely love it, and it's been to hear that person talk like that, who had no clue as to what was in front of him, no clue. To be sitting here with you and in front of everyone, I feel very blessed, and I have a lot of gratitude. I promise you.
Kenny Chesney.
Thank you guys.